everyone, and welcome back to Between Realities. It's season 3, episode 10. How the hell are you? My name is Alex. I am joined here by my co-host Eva. How's it going, dude?
I am fantastic.
I know.
Yes, I am fantastic. It is Between Realities Friday, as our community has dubbed it.
I like that.
And yeah, we got a freaking awesome guest. I'm really excited just working on this guy's thumbnail, man. I just laughed. Laughed.
Well, we'll have to see if he's a one-trick pony because I'm hoping he's got more in his wheelhouse than just a foot behind the head. Hello to everyone in chat. We've got Lissa VR in the house. I saw Sean from Rendered Realities here. How's it going, brother? So glad you could make it and not make false promises like we've once known you to do. I guess at this point you're off the hook, right? Like, assuming you're still here, you might have dipped out by now. Oh no, you're here. Okay, good. You're off the hook now, Sean. So thanks for being here,
And we will be on Coffee and VR tomorrow morning.
That's true. More about that later. But yeah, it's going down. We're going to be on that show.
Yep.
Starcade Arcade, how's it going? Mr. Trinidad's here. Glitch Fandango, Future, the homies. Like, hey, dudes, What's going on? Thanks for being here. Onikaze is here. VR Central, Mr. Wise Director. How's it going, dude? Croy VR.
Guys?
Ready Player Rick is here. Who else is here? Anybody?
The whole crew.
We got everybody.
Whole crew, man. And I'll tell you what, we are not starting the show officially until everyone clicks that subscribe button. Yes.
Fucking subscribe.
Click it, or we just sit here like this.
Subscribe, like, and that's it. Actually, you don't even have to comment. Just like and subscribe.
Yeah.
All right. So waiting in the wings with us is a good friend of mine, and I don't even know how it happened. Frankly, I guess we'll get into it. But super funny dude. He does virtual reality comedy sets. He's a VR YouTuber. He's got a podcast. The guy's out there trying to make it in LA, and we're super excited to have him on the show. Please welcome Andy, Obscure Nerd Southern. Hello, sir.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for having me.
Dude, straight from the chat, boom, onto the show, man. I love it.
We're in it. That's the transition.
That's it. It's your first chat, then you're a guest, and then you're the host, and then you take it over.
I think that's it. We're signing the papers after this, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. Well, thanks for joining, man. This is awesome. Like I said, it's like I feel like we're good friends now, and I barely know how that happened. Like,
yeah, it's been wild. You're actually like sort of the first person in the VR sphere who I connected with outside of the comedy.
Nice. Yeah, and I had knowing Kyle Render and kind of attending some of those shows, so I was like kind of messing around with those guys. So it makes sense that we got to know each other a little bit. But I mean, you're pretty new to the VR space for the most part, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been sort of having a weird journey because I actually started in VR as a developer in 2016. Like I got this Vive like winter of 2016 because I was obsessed with just the potential of VR and entertainment. Back then, I was trying to develop a virtual reality theater company, which, spoiler alert, flopped. but I was very excited about it, and I just didn't have the technical knowledge as a developer to make it happen. But I always was just obsessed with how can I bring this love that I have for VR and connect it with all of this live performance and comedy that I've been doing. Nice. And this year, the pandemic forced me to figure it out.
Yeah, that's the case, man. A lot of people got all this time put back in their hands and had to do something with it. And,
the pandemic changed a lot of lives, man.
It really did.
A lot of lives. Yeah.
Duty VR is here. It's his first time catching the show live.
What's up, Duty?
Which is exciting. Duty. That means that he's watched the show not live. So if you've seen it not live, now you're here live. That was actually the first step.
I see Sweaty Nugget JJ in the chat. What's up?
Yep, Sweaty Nugget.
What's going on?
Dude, Sweat Nug J. Let me tell you about Sweat Nug J.
Tell me about Sweat Nug J.
He's been there since the beginning.
The beginning.
Like episode 1, Sweat Nug J is there in the chat, hyping it up. So thank you for your support, dude. I'm pretty sure he's got some Between Reality swag too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
Ooh, I gotta order some of that now.
You know, what a great opportunity for us to plug the Between Reality store. Holy fuck. Check it out. I'm wearing I had the hoodie on when I came over.
My hoodie's over there.
He's wearing a hat which is not for sale. It's a prototype hat. I've got the fucking coffee mug, and if you were smart, you'd probably get something, like one of these things.
Support them so they can release the experimental hats. We need them.
Yeah, we've been experimenting.
These hats are experimental. You know why? They exist between realities.
Oh boy.
Indeed that they do. So you're So I guess you're not exactly new to the VR space then, because 2016, if I remember that year
Yeah, I
correctly,
was in the shadows then.
yeah,
Mm,
that's an early year to be involved.
yeah,
Certainly before I was involved in anything.
yeah,
But in
Yeah.
the past year, for sure, since the pandemic, you have really kind of stepped up and stepped into the VR spotlight, and you jumped on that shorts thing right at the right fucking time,
Yeah,
didn't
that
you?
was crazy. I was just trying that out, because I had wanted a separate channel for, like, non-VR games, like flat gaming and for live streams and just for, like, clips like, a clips channel. And someone's like, "Oh, you should try one of these VR shorts," and I put it up there, and I think it's at 3 million views now, which has been just insane.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah, and it
wow,
for a month, it had no views, and then after a month, it just, like, blew up. And the whole video is me making a dirty joke, about myself in the VR hand physics lab, so that's what I'm known for, I guess.
That's so funny. Paradise Decay is here. I don't know if you noticed.
P Diddy.
He slid
Oh,
up in the
Paradise
house.
DK. I
Paradise
don't know why I said
Decay,
DK, but
DK, Paradise PDK, dude. It's great to see you, man. Thanks
Heck
for
yeah.
being here. So was this video that you did, this short, that got 3 fucking million views on YouTube? Um, is
yeah,
this the
crazy.
one that was before or after the one that you released when you were using the hand tracking app with controllers and I was giving you shit
Oh,
for it?
this is the one right after that.
Yeah. And he puts up a video of what is that shit called?
Yeah,
Like the hand
hand
tracking
physics
lab?
lab.
Yeah,
Hand
yeah.
physics lab.
It's the
But he
same
didn't
app.
realize it was hand tracking. So he's playing it with his controllers. He's like,
Yep.
that's kind of cool.
And that video got like 500 views in a day, and I was like, "Oh no!" But that's sort of the running theme of my channel. The whole the whole concept when I started was because I was like, I know I'm never going to be an elite player. I'm not going to be a proficient VR player, but I love it so much that I was like, what can I bring to it? And I sort of decided my character would be like a VR reviewer if he knows absolutely nothing about any of the games he's playing.
I
And so
love
the
it.
fact that I didn't know what I was doing there played into it perfectly.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's
So I thought
perfect.
I'd come up with this character that was me. Exactly.
It's basically a failsafe for when I screw up. I'm like, that's the character.
Danny Hunkley's here. He's also one of the OGs.
Danny's my homie.
Yeah, pretty sure Danny's
Yeah.
been here since day one.
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely. Since before day one, I
Mhm.
shoot the shit about with this show with him and the designs and all that stuff since before the show even started.
That's
He's
awesome.
the OG.
nice.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
YouTube comedy. How's it been going, man? I mean, 3 million views on a video is pretty fucking sweet. But you know, it's a short, so you can't cash in on it, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you see a
no
trend?
monetization on shorts?
No.
No, I mean, it's pretty much all you get is subscribers, and it put that YouTube channel got picked up in the algorithm a lot. So like on that end, it was nice, but
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, because they don't do ads, right, for the shorts. Is that why?
yeah, they don't run ads on them.
Because if they do, I'm going to go down there to YouTube. I'm going to
Right.
be smacking some fools.
Right, because if it's not monetized, then you can't put it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, I had a friend. He's like, "Oh, I got 100,000 views on a video, and I made like $1,000 in 2007." And I was like, "It's not like that anymore." But
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been enjoying the VR channel a lot. Because yeah, I started because LA, where I'm living right now, comedy pretty much got canceled. Live comedy is still pretty much canceled. Where before the pandemic, I had started the channel, but I wasn't really using it. I was just doing some VR chat things. And then that hit, and I was like, before that, I was going out and doing stand up like 6 nights a week. So I was like, what do I do with my life now? That was
Right.
my whole social state, my whole everything outside of work. And
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, that's when I realized that VR is such a potential, especially for I focus a lot on like improv comedy because you can get really, really amazing personal interactions that sort of highlight the community and highlight me as being the joke of it. So it's funny, but not at anybody's expense but my own. That's the idea. I hope.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I guess with the exception of some social VR stuff, right? Like,
Well,
I
I've had
cracked up
somewhere
in
I
that
had
last one.
Sometimes people, you got to highlight the good and the bad of the community.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we do a good job of that here on this show. You know,
Mostly the good here.
we praise it. Oh, we talk a lot.
Oh,
about
we
the
do
bad.
talk a lot of shit about Facebook and stuff. That's true. And stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and
Yeah,
like
that's true.
the social interactions
Yeah.
of Echo VR, like we
Oh,
talk about that a lot. You know,
yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so Hyperdash came out, right?
hell yeah.
Yeah. So Hyperdash came out. It was a really, really good game. And while I'm talking about that, maybe I'll see if I can put on a trailer. But anyway, one of the bad things, since we're kind of into the bad stuff right now.
Let's dig in the weeds. That's where I live.
Hold on, let me mute this.
Fun. I love that game too. So intense.
It really is. It's so fun. But here's why I wanted to mention it is I have a good friend who is actually here in chat, I believe. Robin is here, and she bought this game. Very, very excited to go into this game and play it. And multiple times, did I do that?
Oh, look at that, dude.
Nice.
Whoa, oops. How did that happen?
Is that
know.
still happening?
No.
Oh.
Oops. Sorry, guys. I'm messing everything up today.
What a weird scene. I've never even seen that.
I know. Shh.
What
That's a scene we're not supposed to talk about.
What the fuck? Man, it's a good thing I wore pants today. I couldn't tell you guys how many shows I've done where my dick is out underneath the table.
Now this is why I came on for these.
Whenever you hear this, it's usually Alex's wing wang smacking against the table.
I knew we had a lot in common.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I knew there was a reason why we were friends. We've been skating around it this whole time.
Yeah, you've seen my comedy. You know what I talk about.
So Hyperdash is this really, really good game, right? I mean, frigging good. But it's being currently ruined by the community. So Robin went in there. Robin is a girl, in case you didn't pick up from the name. And both times she went in there, she couldn't even play because everyone got right up in her face and started making horrible, horrible comments to her, like and harassing her and like made it so she just had to leave the game. And after a couple times of that happening in a row, she had to refund it.
Wow.
What the beep?
I mean, I don't know. This sounds like children to me, bro.
Of course. But I mean, like, toxicity in multiplayer levels is such a big deal in VR, especially because when you're just on a screen, someone's on your screen, they're annoying the hell out of you. But in VR, they're like you have all of these people, all of these robots.
You feel like they can be in your face about it, and like touch you.
Yeah, they're in your face. It's very, very intimate. You know what I mean? And it's not a good thing. And Echo VR had a similar problem at one time, and then they started doing some moderated lobbies for people that didn't want to deal with that shit, right? And I feel like this is a problem. This is a problem in VR. It just is, where you get people that are kind of new to VR. Everything is very intense to them, right? And then you get harassed multiple times where all of these people are surrounding you, just saying bad things, and like it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing. So if you're if you're one of those people, go fuck yourself. If you're not, then let's make it so this stuff doesn't happen.
And my favorite moments are the ones where I get to interact with one of those people. Like I did a video recently in VR chat where I ran into someone like that did get in the video, where the whole point of the video, I was like, I'm just going to pretend I'm a Steven Seagal fan.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just going to go up to people in VR chat and see how long it takes for someone to tell me that they're also a Steven Seagal fan. And the first guy I go up to, I say, do you like Steven Seagal? And he's like, oh, fuck you. What are you doing here? Like this and that. He just goes off. And so, sorry for swearing.
Oh yeah, come on.
That was his quote. That was his quote. And my favorite part was instead of reacting to it like he wanted me to, I was like, oh, so you haven't heard of Steven Seagal? You haven't seen Fire Down Below?
And you're like going through all the.
Yeah, I just act like I had no idea he was angry, and eventually his anger turned into him just being like, "No, tell me more about Steven Seagal," because he realized he was getting nowhere with me. And you just see them slowly get disarmed in their attempts to troll, and you just break them down to like a human level again. Those are my favorite VR moments.
I understand the problem, right? I mean, I know that there is a problem. I understand that there is a problem. Maybe I don't understand the entirety of the problem, but I understand that there is one. And I'm giving at the moment the adult VR community the benefit of the doubt that it ain't them, like for reals. Right. Like I really do think that the main issue is that we have true immaturity in these multiplayer lobbies, like lack of adulthood You know, like, so
Yes.
you get some fucking
Yeah.
13-year-old, 14-year-old who mom left to go to the fucking grocery store for a couple hours or something. You got the house to yourself and you can finally go ham in the headset and not get in trouble, you know? Like,
Yeah.
that's what
Oh
I
yeah.
think is happening, like, more than anything else. So I I almost, how do I say this? I don't want to give them too much credit. You know, like, I understand that that it's an issue, but like, it's a bunch of fucking kids that are just
Yeah.
in there, you know? Like, that's the problem
Yeah.
is.
I mean,
Well,
it's like,
well.
oh, what
Oh,
were
go
you gonna
ahead.
say? I was gonna say it's like when we were kids and you were seeing, or at least when I was a kid, I was seeing a lot of kids get raised on Xbox 360. Their parents would just leave them alone on the 360, and you were getting the same exact thing, but there was a degree of separation because it was just kids yelling at you through a headset. And I think
Right.
it's really kids going through that exact stage that a lot of us 360 kids went through. But now you have full body tracking and you're in lobbies in VR with 40 or 50-year-old people who just don't want to put up with it.
Yeah. You
Mhm.
know, it is a problem. Like you said, back from the Xbox days and the PlayStation days, this is just something that has always been, right? But those companies had to go in and they had to fix the issue. They had to figure
Mhm.
out ways to start moderating these things and start listening in on what's happening and banning accounts. And I'm wondering if Oculus is going to start taking that same stance. I mean, they've talked about it, but I haven't seen anything actually happen. I've
Mhm.
only seen people get banned for doing legit things.
Right.
Like buying a
Yeah,
headset, not using their Facebook account enough, or something
Right.
stupid like that. But
I've
people
seen
can
that.
go in there and harass everybody, and it's totally fine, and no one gets banned. So I don't really understand what's happening there, Oculus, or I should say Facebook. But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
VR
but
Essentials, how's it going, dude?
hey,
Lazius,
what's
thank you
going
for
on, VR
Lazius.
dropping
Essentials?
in. He's the homie. VR
hmm
Bug is here,
What's
and
up,
Delirium Drew squeezing in as well. What's up,
Drew?
Drew?
What's up, Drew?
Nice, good people.
Yeah, it's too bad because Hyperdash is fun, and I believe this issue could be mostly managed if they would just have squad support. Because then you just go in with your friends, and that's the end of the story,
Yes.
right? But with no squad support, you just go in, and whoever you're with is whoever you're with, which is a damn shame for anything multiplayer. Because I want to play with my friends,
Mhm.
or I don't want to play at all.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
usually turn chat off unless I'm recording a video in general. Like Echo, when I play Echo, which I do a lot, I almost always have chat off,
oh,
which is a
interesting.
bummer because having chat on obviously makes the teamwork more helpful. But
Of course.
I just
Yeah.
find I can't play for more than half an hour, at least with Echo, especially without having to.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you what.
it's a damn
I
shame.
try to like think about my life, right? And I like reflect on my behavior in over the years, you know, and I'm turning 34 next month, and I haven't always been in my 30s, you know? Like, I remember like those beer pong years. You guys remember the beer pong years?
Hell yeah, I
I
do.
was
Oh
a
yeah,
fucking prick. I was a
yeah.
prick. I would say the most atrocious things I could think of to you at the beer pong table to throw your game off. Like, I'm not even kidding, dude. Like, I would
Oh
get
yeah.
deep.
Wow, serious.
I would cut deep. I would target your insecurities. Like, I'm
See,
not even
Wow.
with that skill set, you should be a comedian.
Yeah, thanks. I
That's very
actually
helpful in comedy.
I do have a dream of doing a set and in
Come to
Failed to
Fail to
Render sometime.
Render.
I'm
I'll
going
come
to.
by with you. It's
I would love to. Yeah, I haven't put it
That'd be
together,
cool.
but I do want to put together like a 5-minute routine sometime just for fun because I
That'd be
think I
sweet.
could.
That'd be
Yeah.
sweet.
Oh, it's so much fun, especially in
But
VR. It's a lot easier barrier to entry, I think.
yeah, that's for sure. And because I'm already in it, I'm already comfortable. Like,
Mhm,
I feel like it'd
Yeah,
be a
exactly.
no-brainer.
mhm.
But anyway, the point I'm making is that like I wouldn't do that now if I went into an Echo lobby. But if I was like a few beers deep in my 20s after a couple games of beer pong and I went into there, fuck man, I don't know that I would have acted too much. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be derogatory towards women. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm just
Yeah,
saying that there's
I
some
never
fucking
did that,
pricks
but
out there.
I did say some. I used to actually. I started YouTube in 2006. Like when YouTube first
Wow.
started, I had a YouTube channel that I'm so thankful is now deleted because it used to be pretty popular. It was getting like 50,000 views per video, but
Wow.
I was in middle school and it was all troll videos, and I'm not proud of those because
Oh.
it was all Gary's Mod troll videos. So I understand those people. I understand where they're coming from, but I'm glad that people are trying to take steps to stop that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
We
not
need
saying
to.
that what I did was good. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
Yeah.
I've been a dick in my time, you know, like
yeah,
I try not to be now, but I have been before. I'm just keeping it real.
I know. I'm just
You
yep.
know,
kidding.
like give these guys 5, 10 years and maybe they'll look back on their behavior and be like, dude, I used to go into lobbies and if I heard
Yeah.
a girl, I would rip her apart.
But then there'll be new douchebags out there ruining people's time. So someone's gonna get this shit.
Like new money.
Someone's gonna get this shit under control is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because it's ruining people's times. And like I said, developers do not launch a game without squad support if it's multiplayer. Don't do it. Just
that's just a basic thing that you should, especially VR. Because like I do think this issue is a lot more highlighted in VR because of how personal the interactions are. And so I think there is an added need for having to address it in VR as opposed to other games.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree totally.
Well, I'm pretty sure Hyperdash is on it. And like from what I heard, someone said that they're working on something, so that should be coming out soon.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
And it'll have haptic support in the next update.
Oh,
I'm
that's
excited.
right.
I'm thinking about getting that haptics with my tax refund.
Dude, I mean, whatever. You guys can chalk my shit up to like biased if you want, but it's fucking legit. If it doesn't break the bank, it's legit.
And I also feel like it would add for a lot of comedy. I think there's some funny things that you could do with how people interact with it.
Absolutely. I mean, people have a reaction to it. Like the second anybody hears that you're wearing a haptic vest in a multiplayer title, like they immediately just want to like interact with it, and, like trigger something. Or like, oh, can you feel this? Like, there's like definitely an interest surrounding it. So, there's been some viral videos out there too, people using the vest.
Oh yeah, I love those kind of like one of my favorite moments, which I feel like I don't know why haptics reminded me of this, but one of the first things I did in VR chat that made me realize how many different things you could do comedically with VR as a medium was I was with someone and they're like, oh, I'm holding my cat right now in a VR chat bar. And their hands were like this, and you could see that they were holding the cat. And I said, everybody in here has to pet this cat. And then everyone lined up, and the video is me and like 50 people just petting an imaginary cat. I was like, can your cat feel this? Is this working, or is this just kind of creepy? It's like some weird communal, like everybody was in on.
Now imagine if the cat was wearing the haptics kitty version of the.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can just wrap the Tactocipher arm around the.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Virtually pet the cat.
Yeah,
that Sean would have been in heaven.
Sean, did you see my video today? I was in well, actually, it was our video. Really?
Ooh, yeah.
The Synth Riders video. So Synth Riders got native support from haptics today.
Ooh, do you think maybe we should preview some of that footage while we talk?
Yeah, toss it up. So
check that out.
It's actually really exciting because Starcade Arcades here also, they've been messing around with haptics and adding it to some of their titles, which we're excited to hear about. They said it's a game changer, and it definitely is. One of the things that I love about this native integration specifically is that this is a way to use haptics that's like not getting shot or blown up, you know, like, which is most of the cases. Like you're playing Hyperdash, Pop One, Onward, you know, like you're out there like blasting, getting ripped up by zombies. There's like all kinds of like action and attacking and getting attacked.
Yeah, that's like sort of the obvious application of it.
Totally. And this is like vibing, you know, like there's those like grind rails that you put your hands on, and like they really feel a connection to that. Like,
you know, that seems cool.
Yeah, it's sick, dude. And it's fucking native for the Quest. Like we need more Quest native integration
for sure.
That's definitely the way to continue going, I think, in terms of connecting with VR community on a biggest scale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this footage that you guys are seeing right now was shot here in the Between Reality studio. We're gonna be blowing this channel up. Yeah, we're gonna actually, we should probably start saying this now. We've been calling this show Between Realities, but this show is going to be known as the Between Realities VR podcast, and there will be other shows on the Between Realities channel very soon, including stuff like this mixed reality gameplay.
There'll be a full mixed reality thing where we go deep with some advanced mixed reality things, as you're seeing here in this video, and Alex's incredible dance moves, which I could never replicate in a million years.
The rhythm of an angel.
Yes.
Actually, you look like you had a dance club. This is what I look like when I go out.
Yeah. Skiba was saying that he was like glad to be behind the camera for this.
Yes.
Because I played this song like 3 or 4 times in a row to get all the different angles. Yeah. And like by the third, I was fucking
I would have been
and sweating.
I would have been genuinely wheezing. I play an hour and a half of Population 1 once, and I had to use my inhaler 3 times above the recommended dosage.
That's crazy, man. I'll play Population 1 for 7 or 8 hours in a day, but you put on all the haptics gear, and while it is absolutely friggin' amazing, it makes you sweat more. It just does. You're just adding more layers of stuff to your, while you're playing an active game. But man, it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it.
It really is. And for the record, it has not always been worth it. Like when Steven and I first got the Haptics Fest, we like filmed an unboxing, we hooked it up, played Sorrento, and threw all the fight. And then at the end, after we had all this footage, we looked at each other and we're like, like, are we that stoked right now? Like, honestly, we're not, like the wind kind of got taken out of our sails once we like tried to get in there, but it was a fucking turning point.
At that time, there were only 2 games supported.
I mean, I feel like especially with a technology like that, when it's first coming to the consumer market, it's got to be hard to convince developers to spend time and money on investing and having support for it out the gate.
Totally. And I mean, it's mostly easy, right? Like it's kind of just like plugging in subtitles in a movie. It's like when this happens, show this kind of situation.
I'm guessing it's like mapping a controller, but the controller's like little nodes on a vest or something.
And there's different ways you can do it too. Like I've seen some developers attach it to sound clips. So like whenever a sound plays, it will trigger that. So it's like not even the event, it's the sound clicking. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get certain things to trigger when
you could use that in like story games in such a cool way to tie the sound to the way that you feel in your body. If it's a creepy moment, you get like sort of a shake through your spine or something. That could be cool.
Yeah. In Rinlo, which is kind of like a Moss / like down the rabbit hole, like third person puzzler kind of game. There's like stealth portions, kind of like like Metal Gear or whatever, when you like cross by the guard, ding, and he like sees you. And in that moment where like he catches you, like the vest like jolts you as if like you got startled by him, and it's a really good effect. It's like, cool. And it like makes me feel a little bit of that like startleness. Yeah, it's good.
That's awesome. We need that to support VR stand-up. So every time you bomb, you can feel your heart sink. That's what I need.
As if the actual heart sink wasn't immersive enough.
Yeah, I want it to come through to the virtual world.
It's so funny. Well, it really was a turning point when Half-Life Alyx came out. Like
that was just a turning point. That went from 0 to 100 in half a second.
Yeah.
Like I went from that vest collected so much friggin' dust at my house because I was like, nah. And then Half-Life Alyx. Holy shit! I went back through that game again in that vest.
Oh, that must be cool.
Goddamn good. And with the facial interface and everything, the head crabs hit your face. Forget about it, man. Forget. It's a new level of immersion.
And you know what? Like this, I mean, I swear I don't mean to talk too much about this, but like once you get the vest and once you get like addicted to the haptics, you get the other pieces. It's like one of those things like you can't.
That's why I'm trying to wait till I have a lump because I'm going to be addicted to it.
Because once like you're used to like visually seeing something pass through and registering on your body, and then it happens over here and there's nothing, or you get headshot and there's nothing, then the disconnect becomes even more apparent. Like before you like weren't aware of how numb you were to everything, but then once you start to feel just here but not here or here, you're like, dude.
Yeah, and then you got to start buying more pieces and more pieces, and then you turn into a friggin' haptics addict.
Yep.
Well, I was like this even with early like experiential controllers like that. Do you guys remember this? This is early. I don't know if anyone remembers this. I think I was the only person who was into this. It was called the Falcon controller. And what it was like a gyro ball that had these like fabric strands that came off and they attached to another ball. And you could move this ball and push it forward and back. And if you you could interact with the surfaces in the game. So like if there was a wall and you pushed it, your hand would stop at the wall. And if you shot, it would have like recoil.
Wow.
So I wasted so much money on that. And it was like Counter-Strike Source that supported it. And that was it.
Right. Yeah. And that's the big thing. It really comes down to support,
all the time, every time.
Yeah.
You can have the coolest hardware in the world, but if it doesn't work with anything, it's just a paperweight.
And, I have the hands for haptics and I have the feet. Naturally, I have the whole thing. And I finally have a use case for the feet that I think I'm going to use every time I play this game now. And it's fucking Population 1.
Nice.
The feet
I can see
haptics
that.
in Pop 1 are so good because when you are flying, when you land, it gives you like you
you're
landed
actually
on the ground.
landing. Yeah.
And it's great. And you can
Damn
also
it.
feel the pod. You
Damn
get
it,
into
Alex,
the
gotta
pod,
buy more shit.
and you can
on your
rumbling the
feet.
pod. But that's like
Nice.
basically the only
That's
game that it really makes any sense to play.
Oh, that's true.
Even like Blade and Sorcery, unless you have trackers on your feet and can actually kick enemies, it doesn't
Yeah.
really make sense to wear.
You guys should get like a knee tracker, so when you do Skyrim VR, you can get shot in the knee.
Yeah,
That's a 9-year-old
arrow to
preference.
the knee.
Yeah. That's what we've been waiting for.
No, we have been waiting for haptics in VR porn. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
That's a reality.
Whoa.
I did an interview with a VR pornographer in VR chat. Now that was probably the most strange video I ever did.
Ooh, that sounds awesome.
Check it
Yeah.
out on Obscure Nerd VR on
Yes.
YouTube. VR porn interviews.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud that if you search VR chat escort on YouTube, I think I'm number 1.
Yeah. Aspen Darkfire is here in the chat. How's it going?
Aspen, what's up,
AD?
buddy?
He picked up a Haptics vest recently, and I've actually barely gotten his thoughts on it. So I'm gonna have AD. We need to catch up, man. Like let's chat sometime soon.
Yeah, I was playing Pop 1 with him last night.
Nice. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah,
I love
good
AD.
stuff. Good stuff.
Nice.
So maybe you can help us with something, Andy, because
I got you.
I'm sure you can see us right now. We're kind of like, we're like very intimate here. We're like huddled around this single microphone, and while I love it, you have a podcast, which I'm hoping you'll tell us a little bit about. And I couldn't help but notice that when you were on a show, like there's all 4 of you guys in the same room. Everybody's got a microphone. Everything sounds fucking great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your show and then give us some advice with these microphones, because we don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that show, it's I'm sort of like a recurring guest on it. Every probably 2 weeks I go on. But my buddies own a podcast studio. It's a professional podcast studio, 1 block away from my house, which is awesome. So I just walk over there.
That is really nice.
Yeah, and it's all stand-up comedians. Like they've had Sal Vulcano from Impractical Jokers come through there,
Wow.
and Mark Maron did an interview on there. So a lot of cool people work with them. And yeah, we go there once a week, and we just sort of it's like an Opie and Anthony Howard
wow.
type of show. Yeah, it's
I haven't
like
heard that name in a while.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a bunch of rotating comedians. We have people from like America's Got Talent come on and just sort of shoot the shit. But the mics we use, we're using like these guys invested like $15,000 into it.
Damn it.
But all you need, I'm telling you,
invested a bit as well.
Not 15 grand.
All you need is 2 Shure
Really?
SM57s. That's all you need. They're both $50 to $100.
Oh.
You get 2 of those and a USB mixer, and you can run both of the mics right through that, and then right in the computer, and it sounds great.
All right, send us links. We'll be
I'll
buying
send you
that shit.
links.
We spent.
Really?
I've spent a lot.
Yeah.
Not 15 grand, but I spent a lot.
It's a nice setup
with no return.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is the part of it.
I'm
Like,
still waiting on my
whatever.
YouTube returns.
Yeah, it's like none of us are making any
It's not.
kind of money.
It's not for the return, though. You know what I mean? I guess it would be nice to get some money back for some of the equipment, and I mean, I've dedicated my life to it pretty much. I don't have a living room.
My hope is to eventually break even. That's what I think success is.
Sweet.
YouTube.
Yeah,
just break even.
Yep.
But I think YouTube's something that you can't do unless you love it. Like especially during the pandemic, like I was in such a low point without stand-up comedy. I was doing VR videos probably once a day, or I was doing like every 2 days, just because like I would sit around and try to be like, okay, I need to take the day off. And I was like, that's all I want to do right now, because it's what's just keeping those like creative juices flowing and keeping me interacting with people, more importantly.
Yeah. Well, interacting with people is very important. You gotta continue to engage community, especially this community, man. This community is so amazing. Like, it's one thing if you have to like talk to people you don't want to talk to, but dude, the VR community is amazing. I love everyone. Like, I genuinely feel like these people are kind of family. I know that's weird, but like, I really do. I really love the people in this community.
Well, and like, I mean, I was kind of touching on that a little while ago. It's like, how the fuck are we friends? Like
it just happened.
How? Like how? Like no one tried, like we're just like all doing stuff that we like, and the paths cross, and before you know it, you've been talking with this guy for fucking 6 months, and it's like, what the hell?
You
Yeah.
know who I want to give a shout out to as well, really quick? One of the coolest people I have ever not met in real life, but I just love this guy, and he's going through a really hard time as German Rifter. And I just want to throw a quick shout out because we love that guy, and he's just having some hard times, and just want to say we're here for you, buddy.
Daniel.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Good dude.
We love it.
Yeah, I
Yep.
do love how supportive this community is, because I've been I call my channel Obscure Nerd because I've been sort of obsessed and dedicated to many, many different nerdy pursuits and communities in my life. And most of them, especially when you're like a new guy who comes in and then just gets really into it and starts doing a lot in their community, a lot of people can be can try to push you away, like sort of have this weird thing. But the VR community literally has been the opposite. Like from the beginning, just people supporting and people reaching out and people wanting to just hang out, play games. It's been really awesome.
Very cool.
Mateo 311, what's
in
up,
the
baby?
house? What's
What's
up, buddy?
going on?
Make sure everyone takes a moment to say hi to Mateo, or he'll be very sad. So
I'll be sad if you don't say hi to Mateo.
Everyone say hi to Mateo. If you're here and you're in the chat, say something to Mateo and say hello and tell him that we love him, because we do.
We do love you, Mateo. We really do.
So tell us a little bit about the VR comedy thing, because I've brought it up a handful of times on this show, but we've never really had an opportunity to talk to somebody who has done it. And you were making content already before Failed to Render came about, or how did it work out?
Yeah, so it was kind of like the perfect storm, because I started as just a VR chat content creator. And I had done it for about 2 months, then Failed to Render came out right when the pandemic hit. And so I had doubled down on my VR channel and was looking for ways to do stand-up comedy, because I appreciated Zoom shows, the Zoom stand-up comedy, but it's just not, a lot of my style of comedy is I do a lot of my writing while I perform. It's mostly riffing and crowd work and sort of taking an idea and hitting off the audience and then playing off the reaction, which with every other form of virtual comedy, it doesn't work. Like Zoom comedy, all that.
And there's a thing called Zoom comedy?
Yeah, don't look into it. It's basically getting into a Zoom call and telling jokes to a silent Zoom call.
That sounds rough.
It's hard. Yeah. So I was like sort of against the whole virtual stand-up thing. Like a lot of people were purists, you can only do it live. And then somebody hit me up about VR comedy, and immediately I was like, this is perfect, because they saw my YouTube channel, Kyle, Render, and Al Gonzalez. And Kyle saw my YouTube channel, and then Al, I actually had worked with a lot of comedians that he had worked with already in real life in LA. And so they sort of reached out to me and said, hey, come do some time. And I did a video on a couple of my sets, and it took off from there, because the coolest thing about, I think, VR comedy and VR events in general are going to never go away, will only get bigger, is the personal nature of it. Like I can come out and you can do crowd work, but it's a whole new type of crowd work. Like I do crowd work based on people's avatars. You'll come out and say, oh, great, the guy in the front row chose the sad, tired avatar. This is like real life. Like stuff like that.
That's great.
Yeah. And there's just like a whole new lane of premises and things. And you can tell, like I have 10 minutes of material just about VR chat stories, which you can't do anywhere else. But it's so cool to share with a community of people who can experience it in real time and let you know in real time and react and heckle and, all of the good and the bad that comes with live comedy.
For me, like I'd like to get your perspective on something, because one of the things that I've noticed when I attend live comedy shows is a lot of times comedians put quite a bit of stock in the audience reaction, right? And they actually will say it. They'll talk about their insecurities, and sometimes they're good at making a joke about it, and sometimes like, okay, well, that one wasn't very good, let's try another one, here we go, and they'll like try another one. I thoroughly enjoy stand-up comedy. Like,
me too.
I love it. Me too. But I do not always audibly laugh at jokes. Like it'll land, I'll love it, I'll think it's great, but it didn't get a physiological reaction out of me, which is fine. It doesn't mean I didn't think it was funny. I just didn't.
Yeah.
I just didn't do it. And in VR, there's like this it's really weird to balance this, because like you want to show your appreciation, but you can't just read my body language and tell that I'm having a good time, right? So like, I guess I could hit the emojis or something, but at the end of the day, the comedians in VR are still looking for a laugh.
Yeah.
And I get put in this weird spot where, as someone who's participating as an audience member, I almost feel forced, or not forced, but pressured to make an audible response to something that I like. And it's weird because in
Yeah.
VR, I'm just sitting in my fucking living room, right? Like my fiance, soon to be wife, is like watching The Bachelor in the room next to me. And she doesn't want to hear me outburst every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I
Or
mean?
does she?
Or maybe we're not communicating enough. I gotta talk to her more about what she likes. But you see where I'm going with this, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a weird position for me to be in as an audience member, and maybe you can give me some perspective as a comedian that does VR as to like how it feels to be up there, and maybe what you expect from people who are witnessing it.
Yeah, it's a fine line, because a good comedian, if they're bombing, they'll double down on their material, and if they address the bomb or address that there aren't laughs, it's in a way that is funny and gets it forward.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you'll see comedians who aren't hearing laughs, who are doing well, who don't have enough confidence
Right.
in their own material, and so they say, I'm not hearing laughs, I must be doing poorly, and they get self-conscious. And when comedians address that, I think it's more of just a experience thing.
Some amateur shit.
It's some amateur shit. No. But it is a weird thing, and I think that's like the ultimate audience complex with stand-up in general. Because I've done shows in small rooms of 30 people, where everyone in that room feels very pressured to laugh because they're
Right.
staring at you, and if they don't laugh, I'm looking right at them. I think that's like one time I was doing a show at a bar where it was so quiet that I told my joke. I was talking to this audience member outside beforehand, and I told my joke, silence, and I hear the guy whisper to the person next to him, I thought this guy was funnier outside.
Oh,
And like,
man.
you just have to be a good comedian to not let things like that ruin your
Mhm.
set, not let them take you out of your zone. It's
Mhm.
a give and take.
Well, I'll tell you what, dude. Like, if I was in that silent room and you looked over to me, just like begging me, like, dude, hey man, like, am I dying or what? And I look over at you, I would give you like a nod. I could
Yeah.
give you like some form of encouragement that doesn't require me to force myself to make a noise.
But it's hard
Yeah.
because you don't have facial expressions and stuff like that right now. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I
Once
think,
we have facial tracking, it would probably be easier.
I think the key to being an audience member in there is to leave your mic off, but to just react as you would. Because the best laughs are the ones where people laugh when they don't want to. Like sometimes, and this
Right.
is another thing I love about VR stand up, is the best jokes, the best feeling in VR stand up is when you do a joke and you can see the head tracking of somebody go back like this and then forward and then
Yeah.
back and then the hands start going like this. Because you know that it hit a person and they're just sitting there watching. All of a sudden, it hit them and they're like just threw their back laughing for just a second, and you can see it happen in real time.
And that has honestly, and I honestly, I feel like I'm unfair, and I feel like I'm an unfair critic sometimes, like, because people will actually have good stuff, but because I've heard the best, I yeah, it's all right kind of situation, like I can be a really tough critic, but I've been in fail to render, and I have had jokes in there during those comedy shows land. Like, I'm in VR, I'm chilling, I'm just nodding along, hitting the emojis, not giving the laughs that they want, and then a fucking joke hits, and I'm just like, oh, and it gets me, like
Yeah.
these guys are actually fucking funny in there, and a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
them have true professional
Yeah.
stand-up experience.
So with those guys, right? They are this for people who haven't ever experienced this or haven't heard of fail to render. It is a lot of actual professional comedians that just aren't touring because of the pandemic, right? And they're
Yep.
going into VR
Yep.
and they're finding other ways to get their comedy out there and to express themselves. So I think it's super awesome. I think everyone should support this because laughter is one of the best medicines for anything in life. For anything, you need to be laughing.
oh yeah.
And if not, yeah. So anyway, you got to go in there and you got to check this out for sure.
But yeah, if you want to know what it looks like, I've got a whole playlist on my channel of VR stand up bits that I've done. If you want to just see what it's like, because a lot of people just don't. I'm guessing people here get it because we're all VR people, but a lot of people I explain it to until they see it with their own eyes, they don't understand how personal it can be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I did a set 3 weeks ago. I did 30 minutes. I did a headlining set at Failed to Render, just a 30-minute set. And about halfway through, somebody just made a joke in the audience, like under their breath, about VR porn. And I was like, one of the best comedians. I learned this when I was doing a bar show that Donnell Rawlings stopped by. He's been on Joe Rogan a lot, and he was on Dave Chappelle. He's incredible. And he just stopped by this little bar show that I was doing, and he didn't do any material. He did 30 minutes of just reacting to things in the room and making them funny. And afterwards, he said, if you want to be good at crowd work, you have to let the audience know that you are seeing everything they're seeing and hearing everything they're seeing. So if you're in a VR show and I hear somebody like snore, I'll call it out and I'll be like, I think somebody's dying. We need to get this guy checked. He's choking on his tongue. Because if you don't, the audience members are gonna be like, wow, there's like people talking in this guy's set and he's just like pretending it's not happening.
Right. You got to be super fucking confident. Like you have to
You
own
just have to
every
trust your
second.
instincts. Yeah.
I see Tones. Oh, go
Always
ahead,
sorry. Oh, it's all right.
We're doing the shout out.
Yeah, I was just gonna shout out Tones My Bones. He just hopped into chat and he was asking where you can check this stuff out. So you can see our guest stuff from on the monitor below here. We have some links, but we also have links to all of stuff in the description. So make sure you go down there, clicky, and likey everything if you can, because this guy's gonna crack you up, man. Serious.
I'm Not That Spy VR's here. What's up, dude?
Oh, shout out, I'm Not That Spy.
Delafar is here. We got the homies up in here right now. Thanks for being here. These comedy shows happen inside of Altspace VR.
And you can go to them for free in Altspace 3 days a week. I'm gonna forget the days now. I think they're Wednesday, Friday, and Saturdays. And I'll probably be there this weekend.
Dope.
Sweet.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I'm gonna hop in there. Maybe I'll hop in there tonight. I keep wanting to go in there, and every time I throw on my headset and go in there, I'm like, oh damn it, it's over.
Yeah.
Suck at that.
Yeah, I've had some of the best, and I've also written like, now that I'm doing a little bit of stand up in real life again, I've got like a lot of VR jokes that work in the real world that I never had confidence in. Because I didn't trust the universal understanding that people have of what VR is now.
Yeah.
But like I have a joke where I talk, which is a true story, where I talk about how I was on a date and a girl came home and I live in a studio apartment, and the first thing she notices is that I have big giant blinking sensors mounted in all the corners of my room, and how you have to explain what that is. And you realize how deep in the VR hole you are when you're like, no, those are motion trackers. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
And so like things like that I would have never thought of unless I was doing sets in VR. Because that just came out of crowd work that I had with somebody who was talking during one of my sets, and it became this great bit.
That's amazing.
So VR is getting popular and adopted enough now where normal everyday people are starting to understand and think VR jokes are funny.
They get VR jokes.
Wow, we're doing it, guys.
Good.
It's getting there.
So honestly, there's like two things that to me the VR comedy thing need to overcome that will like make the thing a million times better. The first one I've already mentioned, and then the second one
what was the first one, the facial tracking?
Just audience interaction and like how best like to find like a cohesive and like energetically reciprocating situation, you know?
Yeah. In some rooms it just sort of happens, and then other rooms, you'll get off and be like, that was just kind of a weird vibe all night.
It can be tough, dude. And the other thing that's tough is audio latency. And that's something that like we only barely struggle with in a format like this one. You know, I would say the latency here is like maybe a half a second, or maybe trying to get upwards to a second or something possibly. But in VR, when people are like, everybody's in there using a Quest 2, everybody's mics are all fucking cackling and shit. Like audio latency is kind of a problem. And like people laughing into Oculus Quest mics all coming together, like the microphone situation, like is pretty messed up. And like we'll have, you know, the host of the show come up and be like,
yep,
you know, and it's like
that's 100% the biggest issue.
Like and I've a couple times I've tried to use a mic like this in VR, where I like put my headset on, but then I'll like sit up at the table and like hook up this mic. But the problem is that you're in VR, so all of a sudden I'm over here talking to someone, and I'm waving, and no one can hear me anymore.
Yep. I can only use the mod mic. It's the only one I trust with VR. now.
lot of
It's
people
the
say
only thing
that.
I trust. Yeah.
Yeah, mod
I
mic is incredible. I love my mod mic.
Yeah, if you go through my backlog, like, the audio goes through a million different grades of crappy before I find the mod mic.
Yeah. And we notice right now, let me put you back on full screen, that you have 2 microphones because you're twice as funny
I
as
do.
everyone else. Yeah, you got your mod mic and your headset mic.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
I haven't invested in a headset without a microphone, so I just attached it, and now I double duty.
I mean, that could be your signature look right
There
there.
you go.
I
The
think
two.
Leg behind the head, 2 mics. There we go.
the leg behind the head, that was my signature for a long time.
Yeah, I imagine that one started at like age 5. You know?
Yeah,
It's like
right.
the
That's how I
second
made
you
friends.
figured it out, you're like, I'm gonna do this every day.
That's 100% it.
Well,
And then I
hopefully,
realized you get a cheap laugh out of it at comedy shows if you do it.
hopefully by the end of the show, we'll have a leg behind the head.
Yeah,
We'll
right.
see if I'm limber enough.
I was kind of expecting it when the camera connected. You know, it was just gonna be there. Like,
I should have done that. I'm a
I
performer.
mean, I gave you. I tried to like. I didn't want to like spoon feed it to you. You know, I was gonna be like,
I need it. I need
He's
it.
pretty good.
Figured you were a professional. But
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I haven't stretched yet. It's early.
Hey, for the record, I use the Rode wireless kit. It's like a lavalier microphone, and I plug
those are
it in straight into my DSLR, and that sounds pretty damn good. But I don't really play games with that setup because the battery it's like a battery thing. You know, like, which I guess the mod mic must be too, right? Like that thing must have a battery.
Yeah,
It
I'm
is, but the
using
thing
the
lasts
wired
forever.
version.
There's a
which
wired version?
I have a wired one, yeah. So when I record VR videos, half of the comedy is from me trying to move because I've got the wired headset and then the wired mod mic, and then sometimes I'll do the link cable. It's a mess, but it's fun.
Oh man. So the battery mod mic, I have to say, one of the problems I have with it is it doesn't just turn off if there's nothing happening. And sometimes I'll leave it on and it'll go for days. It'll literally go for days without a recharge. It's got I don't know how they got such a good battery in there, but it's good stuff. So
I mean, Antline really thought through who is going to be using their headsets and optimizing them for those users, which I think is why they're like really the ones setting the standard in VR recording.
They are, for sure.
Has your VR experience changed a lot, like the way that you enjoy VR since you started cranking out these videos? Because like, dude, you're going through the fucking catalog, man. Like I'm like you're putting out a different game like all the time. So, you know, what's it been like to kind of start to go through a bunch of different kinds of games, and like does it feel different to enjoy VR recreationally now that you've kind of been like up and running like this?
Yeah, it's definitely a very different like way of playing VR that I have now. Because yeah, that was always my goal was I wanted to eventually cover every single VR game. That's always been the long goal is to have a video, at least one video on every single VR game.
Paradise Decay's like hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Paradise has got a couple years on me. I'm gonna catch up one day. But yeah, the goal is to show that every single game can be funny and sort of wacky and ridiculous in its own way. But I love the way I record, which I love, is that all my videos I start recording the first time I ever try the game, and I probably record my first 2 to 3 hours of just going in blind without knowing anything about any of the games, and that's actually my preferred way to play now because I've always been a guy who likes to experience something and then say, now that I have that experience, what else can I experience? And so this gives me a reason to sort of see the whole gambit from good to bad, from like really experimental to really standard VR experiences, and have just like a little bit of a taste of everything, and see sort of where my thoughts lie in the whole gradient of it, I guess.
Dude, it's weird, man, when like there's like a time where like you go from just like loving VR to like VR is life, you know?
Yeah.
And like that when that clicks over, like enjoying VR in my opinion changes pretty dramatically, which is why I asked, you know, cuz like I personally don't enjoy VR in the same ways that I did when I first fell in love with it. You
It's
know, like,
definitely true.
it's way different. Like I used to play Firewall every single day. Like the same like I would hit up the squad every morning, like first thing in the morning, boom, like yo, what's up? Grab the aim controller, like in there for hours, like every day.
Wow.
Like I played that shit every fucking day. And now, like, I'll play a game for long enough to get the information that I need, or the content that I need, or the experience that I was trying to have. And then it's like that's in the fucking in the rear view, and I'm like looking at the next thing.
Mhm.
Because so many games come out all the time, and we're like always looking for new things to talk about, and there's always just like hype train departing the station every goddamn day, you know? And it's like you can't it's like hard to become a part of one of those gaming communities in the way that you do before you like drink the VR
That is
Kool-Aid.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have found this that sort of similar experience where yeah, because yeah, now that I think about it, there were games that I used to play every day, and now I'm sort of at a place where every time I play a game, I'm afraid to not be recording it because I'm always just
Right.
while I'm in the even story games, I almost never play VR story games without recording because the whole time I'm just trying to think of jokes and oh, this would be funny to say here. I wish I got to write this down and go back. So yeah, it's sort of got me in a rhythm where I play like a new game every other day.
Hmm.
Unless it's a game I really enjoy, I don't usually go back to it for a while.
I got to tell you, man, you know what's kind of ruined my VR life
Mm.
is Population One because that's all I want to play. New
Really?
games come out and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna bully that, and I buy it and everything, and then I go put my headset on and I just click on Population One. That's there's that.
That's how Hyperdash is for me now. That's like
Oh,
the new
dude,
game that I am going back to.
that would be me if I could hop in with my friends, but I am not going through every server and looking at every name in there to see who I can play with. I'm just not doing it. So once Hyperdash gets some squad support, I will be there. Until
Yeah,
then,
that's true.
Population One it is. But
So how do you like the new Pop 1 season 1?
oh, I really like it, man. They really did some great things. I really like the summit area, that whole almost half underground bunker that they put in there. There's a glass roof. You can stand on it and shoot it and come busting
Where
down
is that?
like a badass.
Yeah, I haven't
It's
gotten to that
See,
place
because
yet.
like
I need to go there.
this is what I'm fucking talking about, because I was like playing Pop 1 a lot, and now I'm fucking busy and I'm doing all this shit. And now
Yeah.
I've only played season 1 like one time last night, and I was testing the fucking haptics mod the whole time.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
like I was like still doing
Yeah.
things.
When
like,
it becomes work, it becomes different.
it
Just
is
like
so,
anything.
it's different. It's
Yeah.
like
And you
Yeah.
start to think, oh, I could be doing this and this with this. Yeah,
Yeah. But it's
you gotta hop
good.
in.
They genuinely did a really good job, and going from no melee to having multiple melee weapons has been fantastic. I really think they did a really good job. They got things in there that doesn't really matter, like you can spray paint stuff on walls, but you don't just walk up with a spray paint can. You pick a tag, you point it at the wall, you click the button, and it leaves a mark. No one really even uses it. Just stuff like that. There's the battle pass. You pay $5, you level up quickly, and you get new skins through. It's all cosmetic. All cosmetic. You get a couple player skins, you get gun skins, but you do not have to buy the battle pass at all, and you will just miss out on just those cosmetic items. There's no other.
I'm gonna
I
go
like
on
that
record.
like the Fortnite approach.
I'm gonna go on
Yeah,
record and say I fucking love the battle pass systems
I do too.
across
It's a
all
great way to do
games.
it.
It is a great way to do it. It gives people who play every day additional incentives and more things to unlock and more things to flex on everybody. And it doesn't affect the core gameplay for the people who play casually. And
Yeah.
you can't get in a competitive advantage by paying into these things.
Mhm.
Like that to me is like
Yeah, but
And,
here's
and,
my.
it, and it incentivizes the company to continue supporting a game that people want to be supported. It's sort of like a flag marker of, hey, you've got a lot of people who are still investing in this game, so in turn they'll invest in it and it'll continue to
Yeah.
grow.
My only gripe is that if you're going to have a battle pass system, you shouldn't charge $30 for the game.
I do agree.
Yeah.
I was like wondering whether or not I was going to express that sentiment.
Yeah.
I think free to play model with battle passes is truly the best way to approach it, because
Yeah.
then there's no risk involved
Right.
for people to become a part of the community. You can try the game. If you love it, you'll buy into the fucking battle pass.
Yeah.
People do. Like they'll want the skins, they'll want the additional stuff.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be walking around out there in a vanilla skin if you play the game regularly.
And with the size of the VR community, right, we have a much smaller community than flat games, and I understand that. So maybe you can't do free to play with the battle pass system and really be able to keep the servers up that you have to,
Right.
because you got to
Yeah,
pay.
I would
The
expect
servers-
like a $15
Right.
buy-in.
That would be
I think that would be reasonable for a VR game with a
I
battle.
agree. $10-15 if there's a battle pass system. The developer still makes money. They can hopefully still, afford the cost of the servers and all the things they have to do to maintain and pay their employees to update the game. But man, a full $30 is pretty much the highest price tier in VR. I mean, there's a couple of big dogs. Medal of Honor. What a bunch of morons they were with that.
The one big game I still to this day have never played because I refuse to pay $60.
Don't. It is garbage. It's a $10 game at best.
Yeah.
At best, man. I mean, they ignored everything anyone has done in VR. And they were like, nope, we're not looking. We're just going to do our own thing. And we're not looking and seeing how anyone else has failed or succeeded. By
their brand alone, they could just do their own thing. I also saw Rendered Reality brought up contractors. If anyone ever wants to get together for a contractor server, I've been trying to play that. I've been wanting to do a video on it for so long, but I always log on at the wrong times.
Let's do it. Let's all hop into contractors. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah, dude, you don't want to play with Sean? She'd be on my fucking team. If we're playing, Sean's on my team.
I'm not going up against everyone. Him. Yes, absolutely.
I'll take you all down. I'm not going against him. I just learn how to reload again. I forgot.
So the only reason why I am personally okay with the price tag of Population 1 is because they did the opposite of what you guys are complaining about with Medal of Honor. Like they listened to everything that everyone is doing in VR, and they applied all of the feedback that they got from their community. They did everything
except for pricing,
right?
Except for pricing. That's the only thing. But
here's the thing: that game was developed for like how many years before it came out?
Oh my God! It was a full PC only game, and then they made it
down the Quest,
and they rewrote everything from scratch.
That is so much work for nothing.
Yes,
like they worked for years, to bring us this game without a fucking dime, and they let thousands of people play it for free for years in their alpha and betas. So for it to come out at $30 for like literally these people's lives being invested into this shit for the past 3-4 years, like, dude, $30. Like, I've spent $30 on a fucking pizza order, you know? Like, I can do it for the best game in VR.
There's very few games that I have gotten more for my money out of than Population 1. I mean, I think I paid $60 for No Man's Sky. And that one I have hundreds and hundreds of hours into. But that's the only one. That's the only game that I have more hours than Population 1. And every time, I would just go hang out in Population 1 if there were no players. If you could just go into that world alone and just build and just run around and break windows, I'd go in there and do that. Like, the environment is fantastic. The mechanics are fantastic. The flying is amazing.
I think it's some of the cleanest gunplay mechanics in an online game for VR, I think.
It's great.
And it's approachable too. Like the speed of the bullets and the way that you have to aim in that game is approachable by like a more casual gamer. Like in Onward, like if you're not like on and like then and all of a sudden you just like drop out of nowhere. You have no idea where it came from. Like
you just spawn and die.
Right. Pop 1, like it's very easy to tell what's going on. It's very easy to tell why your shot missed. Like you can watch it go wide. You're like, okay, let me adjust this now. Like I very rarely shoot down the sights because after my first bullet, I know the adjustments I need to make. I pull the trigger, it's like, okay, I'm way off here, and I pull it over, So it's a very approachable game, and I have friends from high school now who, haven't gamed since we were in high school. I've been gaming the whole time, but they all stopped. And now these people are like picking up Oculus Quest 2s. I played with a couple of high school friends last night who I haven't talked to in fucking years.
Yeah.
And we played Pop 1 last night.
Wow.
It's great, dude.
That's so awesome. And I played with someone that I used to play flat games with and would not make that jump over to VR. They did for a minute. They bought a Quest and then they're like, forget it. And they went back to their, Escape from Tarkov and stuff like that. But last night my homie hopped in and we played some Population 1 and, and we had a blast. Yep. We had a fucking blast. So I love this game. This game has done so much to just bring adoption into VR. I mean, it's really, they've done a great job. And because of that, I would definitely pay that and I have paid that $30 over and I've bought that game for people. It's just so freaking good.
Yeah.
It is so good.
I bought it twice.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's totally worth it. And I buy stuff in the game all the time because I just want to support those guys.
Which is good. And like I said, like the $30 price tag, when I think about all that shit, it's fucking here.
Yeah. It's just hard when you try to convince a flat gamer that that's all they ever knew to come into this game to pay the $30 plus pay a battle pass or whatever it is, that there's cosmetic things that you can upgrade and buy with real money. They get butthurt about it, you know what I mean? Because they just haven't been in the VR community for a little while. They don't really know how it goes, but it's so worth it. That game is worth every dime plus more.
Yeah. Now, have you guys ever gotten into Viveport? That's something
Yes.
I've been using a lot. That's been the godsend for my videos, is the Viveport subscription. I can't tell enough people about that. I think it's the best
Viveport's great. It's good. I mean, it's like the Netflix of VR games, right? And
yeah, it's like $5 a month, I think, 6.
yeah,
Somewhere.
well, so they kind of get you on some stuff though sometimes too. I remember last year I subscribed. They had a Black Friday deal. Subscribe. It was like $2 a month,
Oh, I
a
remember
dollar
that.
something.
I got a
Yeah.
couple years of it.
But then that next year they hit me with like $120 fee. And I was like, what the hell is up with this? So they they get you in there, and then the next year they kind of pull out your
Yeah,
pull your
I've been
wallet
doing
out for you.
a monthly subscription probably for a year and a half now. Whenever I want to make a new video and I don't have a game in the lineup, I'll just go on Viveport and see what they have.
Yeah.
Which is great. And like I think that is a really good idea for like not me and you, honestly. Like
Yeah.
like because
Right.
I get access to so much stuff all
Right.
the time, and I'm like, with the work with the
Yeah.
haptics, I have like new titles coming in all the time that I'm playing and testing, and it's like I've got my fucking plate full. But like people out there who are maybe new to VR, or like don't have a lot of
Yeah,
games, like that
people
is
who just want to have stuff to experience out the gate.
There's a lot of titles on there.
I haven't used it in a while, but from time to time, I'll just go back and check and be like, oh, I didn't know they had this on. I haven't had that yet. I'll check that
And
out.
I haven't used mine in a while either, and I'll tell you why. I'm about to get bitter here. The reason I haven't used mine is because I bought a $1,000 index thinking it would be the best thing that ever happened to me, and I can never play PC VR because the fucking thing is always broken. My controllers are broken, my headset's broken. This shit is always broken. It is always broken. Do not waste your money on an index. I know Mateo's going to have a shit fit in the chat right here, but it is fucking garbage. Their build quality is garbage. I'm just going to say it.
Wow.
I'm say it. It's garbage.
I was about to pull the trigger on one because I have my Quest 2 here, and then I have this. This was like the launch model Vive, which I haven't used in a long time.
Well, and this is, I mean, this means this, like, these are not, like, these, I don't think he would say this lightly, like when I first met Skiva, he was like, still like Valve.
I just got the index when we met, and I love Half-Life, and I love Valve, and I love the IPs they put out, but holy shit, if that thing is not broken all the goddamn time, I can never do anything. I'm always like not making the videos I want to make because my shit's broken. I've gone through 3 sets of controllers. It will be my 4th if they actually swap them out yet again. I've been through 2 headsets. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. $1,000 for a headset that's always broken. If I pay my Quest is $299. I've dropped the thing on the floor. My controllers have gone flying up against the walls.
Very resilient.
And it's like, what the hell? The thing is always working. Why won't my $1,000 piece of trash work?
And it doesn't work standalone. Like,
no,
that's the thing. It's like the Quest is just.
I had that issue with my Vive, where the reason I stopped using it is because the headset has never had an issue. The headset's always worked.
Yes.
Everything else has broken. I've had to replace 4 Vive controllers, which are like $100 each. I've had to replace 2 base stations that just stopped working for no reason. And that kind of stuff is where, and that's when I realized that they were like, it's going to cost $200 to replace your base station. And that was right when they announced the Quest 2. So I said, if you guys don't give me a free one, I'm just going to buy a Quest 2 and never use this again.
Yeah.
And it was unfortunate because I loved the original Vive for so long, but it just, all the peripherals.
My original Vive still works. The thing has gone through hell, and it still works.
Yeah, the headsets themselves are so sturdy.
Yeah.
They really are.
Well, and now everybody's talking about how on Steam VR, Oculus Quest 2 is the most used headset.
It is. But before we go to that, I do want to talk about one quick thing. Because if I can find the right button. So HTC came out with a little bit of spoiler thing where they pretty much just said, what was it that they said again exactly? The ball's in your court.
It's your move.
It's your move.
Yeah.
So, and they showed a picture of the Vive logo on this piece of plastic, right? It's not a lot, but we know
this is typical HTC marketing.
This is typical HTC marketing. But we do know, right, that there is competition coming. A lot of people think this is not going to be a standalone headset. A lot of people think that HTC is only in the business of high-end headsets. But I'll tell you what, that may have been the case before. But money is a huge magnetic attractor of everything, right? And they see the success that they were trying to get with the HTC Vive products. They see that all in the Quest and the Quest 2, and they have the Vive Focus, which only came out in select countries. But that was their stepping stone. Me and you have both tried it. It was kind of, you know what I mean? But like,
I was curious how that was because I was really interested in that for a while.
yeah, it's not comfortable. It's not great, but I'll tell you what, they now have had years and years and years to work on this stuff, years to kind of check out what's happening on the Quest front and really kind of do their own thing. And if they do not come out with a standalone headset and they come out with a PCVR only headset, I believe it's their doom. So I really do think that this is going to be a standalone headset. And I also think that it will probably have native PCVR streaming, kind of like the Pico has, because they have Viveport. They are one of the only companies that can come out of this gate swinging with a full, because anyone can make a headset. Maybe it won't be great, but anyone can make a headset. But what you can't do is have a huge catalog and a server infrastructure system to serve out all of these games. You know what I mean? And they have Viveport. So they have the foundation to make this what it needs to be. And I think that's what they're going to do. Personally, this is just me speculating.
What do you think, Andy?
So
that's what I'm hoping for. And I agree that I think if they were to come out and say, we've got a new, I think if the price point of this, whatever it is going to be the factor.
Yeah.
I think if it's more than $600, that it's going to fail or flop based on what their expectations are. I think if they came out with a direct competitor to the Quest 2, I think that would be the best move, and that's what I guessed when I saw it. Because I agree with you. I think anything else would be kind of
a lot of there's a lot of people out there going, nope, they're definitely coming out with a PC VR, high model end headset. But I'm telling you guys,
gotta assume they've got these business guys. HTC is such a huge company. They've been running all of their decisions at the top level in terms of what goes is made based on numbers. They've got people running the numbers on how many headsets, what type of headsets, and what price points are the major market numbers. And it's Quest 2. So I feel like those guys must have pressured HTC. You've got to come up with something fast to steal that money.
And just recently, they canned the high-end management, and they brought in all new people, right? So there's no way these new people came in and said, I got an idea. Let's make the same failures that we did before. There's no way that happened. There's no way.
So there's a part of me that wants to say that I think either one could potentially be a great thing.
Sure.
Either scenario, either a high-end wired competitor or a standalone competitor. And I will explain why now. Obviously, the standalone competitor. The standalone competitor makes sense. That's the point you guys have just been making. But to your point about the Index fucking sucking and the Cosmos fucking sucking and the G2 fucking sucking, there literally is not a fucking sucking.
One more time for the people.
There's literally not a high quality, new, worthwhile wired VR headset.
Does it matter though? Are there enough?
Maybe.
Are there enough people playing PC VR?
What could be interesting is if they come up with a PC VR headset that is comparable to an Index, but like $200 or $300 cheaper. Like if they could have something at a G2 price range that's at an Index level of tracking and
it works,
resolution, and
historically,
that could be interesting.
Historically, HTC has always come out way above what everyone's wanted to pay, and they've always gotten all this negative press about it. Now, hopefully, this new management comes in and says we're going to change all that, right? But they'll come out and they'll put out these products that are inferior to the products that are currently out, and they'll charge almost more than everyone else, and no one really understands. And to top that off, they will treat their customers like absolute garbage. I don't know if you remember the original Vive days, but if you did have a problem, those people shit all over you, and it was a huge issue, right? And I think that's why Valve split ways with them and went a different direction, because they didn't want that's terrible. You don't treat your customers like that and expect them to come and buy something new from you again. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
right?
the customer service was never there.
It was terrible, and you can't be like that. You just can't. And with all the terrible things they say about Facebook and Oculus, they put out that Elite headset. I wish I had it right here. I have another broken Elite battery head strap. But Every time something breaks or goes wrong, these guys fix it. Even if my shit's out of warranty, they'll say, hey, your stuff's out of warranty, but we're going to replace it anyway. Because that's how you treat your customers. You know what I mean? You also go, and the best way to treat customers is to steal all their data and sell it to everyone and make you into a product. No, I'm just kidding.
That's
But,
like...
but you do have to give the illusion that you give a shit, right?
Yeah.
You buy this hardware, you need that illusion that you give a crap. So
Yeah, you want people to have some sort of security. And ultimately, that is what pushed me away from HTC, is that all the peripherals were breaking on no fault of my own. It was just because the motors inside the controllers and the base stations would just die.
Yeah.
And they told me that they just broke and they would never help it because of the warranty.
Let me put out a tip out there for anyone that uses Steam VR tracking, because a lot of people don't know this exists. So if you go into your Steam settings, you can go into the base station settings and you can set the base stations. And I don't know why this isn't by default a thing, but you can set them to go to sleep every time you turn off your Steam VR. So they're because they just constantly spin. They're constantly shooting lasers all over your room, full blast going all the time. But if you set your base stations to sleep every time Steam VR is off, chances are they're going to last a lot longer. So
that's a good idea. I think I'm going to do that when I go home.
There you go.
Corey VR in the chat has kind of like broken this down for us a little bit. And he says the Facebook Quest 2, thanks for calling it as it is, I guess.
Yep.
256 gigabyte, 400 pounds, plus Elite head strap, 129 pounds, plus virtual desktop
conversion rate here
at 16 pounds. Basically brings it to 545 pounds as a standalone device that can actually do something.
So $754 US.
So $700, like that's the price of a fucking high-end PC VR headset.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, honestly, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I personally would like for them for either. I think a standalone device that is competing directly with the Quest is the most obvious thing that could create a big impact in the VR market. But a nice, new, actually good wired PC VR headset with good tracking would be dope, because I personally noticed the difference between a tracked room and optical tracking. And everybody else says that it, inside out, but the outside in is just better.
It is better.
Until it gets better, I probably won't prefer the other one.
Yeah. I mean, but we are connoisseurs of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. We want the best. Joe and Sally Walmart do not give a rat's ass.
No.
They just want to know their hands are there. Oh my God, it's my hands.
Their hands don't move at the speed of mine.
Right.
This is true. I'm like
you got those Beat Saber hands.
Dude shreds blocks like
that's right. I'm shredding. They can't do it. They'll never notice the tracking differences. Yeah. But when I bring my swing all the way back behind my fucking back to like get it behind the thing, and I lose tracking because I've gone over here, that's a problem for me.
It is.
Yeah, it's just like how like Super Smash Bros. Professional players will only play on CR TVs.
Right.
Because they're like, latency is just better. Like you can't make these movements without the proper latency and the proper resolution. And
it's true.
That's when it hits that level, it matters.
Yep, it absolutely does. Oh, man, I love Smash Bros, dude.
I wish I was good at it.
I was going to get you off on that.
I love that game. If anybody thinks they're good, come at me. Like I'm not a pro. Like if I went to a tournament, I would get bodied, like for sure, right? But unless you're playing in tournaments, I'm going to put my money on me. Just saying.
It's a big claim.
All right, everyone in our audience today. I want to see some people come and shred Alex.
Come at me. I played some Switch with. I played some Mario Kart with Grumpy Duck.
Oh, nice.
He had like a big group.
That's fun.
Oh man, I love Grumpy Duck.
It's nice to like
play
some Nintendo or some other shit with some of these people sometimes. It's like I don't only do VR. Like I play on everything.
Yeah.
So I will say, Alex and I have had some legendary Population 1 games.
That we have.
Nice. You have not played with me. I guess I'm just.
Dude, let's get the squad this week.
1, 2, 3. Population 3.
Let's take some wins.
Yep.
Dude, it's always a good time, man. I appreciate how you are dedicated to having a fucking good time when you're doing all of this stuff. I mean, some people, you get into VR, it just becomes a part of your everyday life, and then you're just like, you're in the headset, and you just start getting aggravated, and you stop having as much fun. And like every time we've linked up in VR, it's just been a fucking riot. And I mean, every time we've linked up, period, here in VR, otherwise, it's always a good time, man. So thanks for bringing the good vibes.
Sweet.
Yeah. Thanks. That's what I always try to do that. I'm like at the least, even if people don't enjoy the videos, I hope they find the energy fun.
Yeah.
And remember that
Well,
you can always bring that to the game.
we'll see. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't.
They don't. They like the dick jokes I do, I think.
So why don't you like give us some closing thoughts, obscure nerd? You know, what's on your mind before we wrap this up?
Nothing. Thank you guys for having me. Nothing's on my mind.
Yeah, dude. What do
I'm
you
a
mean?
blank slate. I think there's something wrong. I think something went wrong. I've been hit by microwaves. No, yeah. I mean, I'm just really excited to see where VR continues to go. I'm super excited because there's more and more multiplayer games coming out. That I think that's really where I enjoy creating content for the most. Is just hopping into a game and interacting with that community for a couple hours and seeing what kind of fun, weird stuff we can get into. Um, so I'm super excited. Yes, rendered reality. We got to do contractors.
I have a question for you. Have you done any content in Gorilla Tag?
My Gorilla Tag video is one of my favorites.
Nice. So that game for some reason has blown up, right? And for some reason there was like 42,000 people playing it in the first 2 weeks, which I can't believe because I think it's fucking
crazy.
horrible. It's a terrible game. Me and Aspen went in there and we're like, what the heck is this crap? And we're like running around and we're like, no, let's play some Pop 1. So we went, but anyway, there's a lot of people in there and I could see how you could make some really funny content.
Must be a generational thing.
Yeah, I had some both fun interactions in that. But Gorilla Tag 2 is another one where I literally, my video I did on that, I recorded for like 40 minutes because I was wheezing. I was ill at the end of it. All of it throwing your arms around.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Like 30 minutes of that is a workout.
It is. It is. And for there's nothing to really do. I mean, you just kind of tag your friends, but there's no like, oh, this person won. It just kind of starts over, everyone's untagged, and you just There's nothing, I don't know, it's just kind of lame-o. And it's like being inside of a PlayStation 1 game. That's what the textures
That's exactly what the textures are like.
Yeah, it's definitely PS1 level.
I haven't played it, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it.
It's funny. I think it's kind of funny. I was just like trying to talk to people in it while I was trying to catch them. I was like, come on, I'm wheezing. I need this. This is all I have. Like seeing how people react to things like that is really fun.
Our Red X Army, if you don't know what Gorilla Tag is, right after our broadcast, which is going to end momentarily, go over to Andy Obscure Nerd's channel. Links are below in our description, and check out his Gorilla Tag video, and he will give you the true essence of what it is to reject humanity and become a monk.
It's true. It's the truest experience.
Monk.
To become a monk.
Well,
monk.
Obscure Nerd, dude, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It's been so much fun, and I'm looking forward to our inevitable multiplayer games.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
I am very stoked
Let's start
to play
a group
with you.
chat. I'm excited.
Yep.
Let's make it happen. Thank you guys so much again.
Absolutely, dude. We hope that you'll join us again one day. Everybody in chat, say bye to Andy.
Bye, Andy. We're going to eject you. Adios.
And with that, we've lost him. He's gone forever.
Crap! And I didn't change the thing for next week's guest.
You son
Holy cow! I am fired again.
Can you change it now?
I can. I just have to figure out who exactly is our next guest.
Well, thank you guys all for joining us in the chat today. Onikaze, Glitch Fandango, Lissa, Red X Army, Sean from Rendered Reality, Aspen Darkfire, Croy, dude, Obscure Nerd. Of course, our guest is also in the chat. Dude, all you guys, get to the Choppa showing up right in time. Oh, can you plug that in or no?
Oh, yes. Let me change it here real quick.
Cool.
So we have a really good guest, I think, next week. This guy is someone I've always wanted to talk to. And it is... If I can spell. Let's see. We got Blake J. Harris. And if you don't know who this guy is, he is a famous, in my world, he's a famous author. And he wrote the book, The History of the Future. And this is a book all about the beginnings of Oculus and all of the players involved in making virtual reality come to life. And to me, it was one of the coolest books I have ever read to the point where I was like, man, they got to make a friggin' movie out of this, because I think it would be absolutely incredible. But maybe it's because I'm in the VR bubble, right? But I really enjoyed that book. So come on back here next week and join us with Blake J. Harris.
Yeah, you've got a week to check out History of the Future.
Yep.
And read that shit, so that way you can come into the chat with
It
some
is
questions for this guy.
Awesome.
Awesome. We'll see what happens. He agreed to come onto the show for 30 minutes. But maybe just because he doesn't understand how cool we are.
Yeah.
And like maybe once we get into the conversation, he'll be like, okay, I might have a little bit more time, you know. But there's a chance that we might just have our guest next week for 30 minutes.
Yep.
Which will be kind of unique, because we normally have everybody for the whole show.
Yeah, whatever. It'll just be more me and you.
Yeah, which I mean, I guess. If I have to. All right, well, there it is. Blake J. Harris next week. Thank you guys again so much for being here. And thanks again to Andy, Obscure Nerd Southern. And thank you, Skiva, for being awesome at everything you do. And thank you, everyone. And thank you, guys. And thank everyone. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
What's up, peeps? I bet you half of you are gone, and the other half of you are wondering what the fuck is going on right now.
Yes.
So I just noticed Sean. Actually, I think Sean did something similar to this one time, because we were gonna have them on our show, and then they forgot to say something, and then they were gonna end the show, and then they came back and remembered to plug it, and that's why we're back right now. Is because tomorrow morning, in case you didn't get enough of Skiva and I during this show, tomorrow morning we are going to be on Coffee and VR over on Rendered Reality on YouTube. It is our favorite fucking VR YouTube podcast. We love those guys. We are so stoked to be on the show, and we realized that we needed to come on and explicitly say, come tomorrow morning, Coffee and VR. We are honored to be a part of it, and that's it.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, guys. Bye again.
Now, bye.
Bye.